Thousands of years ago, the greatest country in the world was Egypt. It was a beautiful land lying on both sides of the wonderful river Nile. In it were many great cities, and from one end of it to another, there was broad field of grain and fine pastures for sheep and cattle. The people of Egypt were very proud, for they believed that they were the first and oldest of all the nations. It was in our country that the first men and women lived, they said. All the people of the world were once Egyptians. A king of Egypt, whose name was Psammetichus, wished to make sure whether this was true or not. How could he find out? He tried first one plan and then another, but none of them proved anything at all. Then he called his wisest men together and asked them, "Is it really true that the first people in the world were Egyptians?" They answered, "We can't tell you, O king, for none of our histories go back so far." The Psammetichus tried still another plan. He sent out among the poor people of the city and found two little babies who had never heard a word spoken. He gave these to a shepherd and ordered him to bring them up among his sheep. "Far from the homes of men, you must never speak a word to them," said the king, "and you must not permit any person to speak in their hearing." The shepherd did as he was bidden. He took the children far away to Green Valley where his flocks were feeding. There he cared for them with love and kindness, but no word did he speak in their hearing. They grew up healthy and strong. They played with the lambs in the field and saw no human being but the shepherd. Though 2 or 3 years went by, then one evening, when the shepherd came from a visit to the city, he was delighted to see that the children running out to meet him. They held up their hands as they asking for something and cried out, because. The shepherd led them gently back to the hut and gave them their usual supper or bread and milk. He said nothing to them, but wondered where they had heard the strange words because, and what was its meaning. After that, whenever the children were hungry, they cried out because, till the shepherd gave them something to eat. Sometime later, the shepherd went to the city and told the king that the children had learned to speak one word, but how or from whom he did not know. "What is the word?" asked the king. "Because." Then the king called one of the wisest scholars in Egypt and asked him what the word meant. "Because," said wise man, "is a Phrygian word and it means bread." "Then what shall we understand by these children being able to speak a Phrygian word which they have never heard from other lips?" asked the king. "We are to understand that the Phrygian language was the first of all languages," was the answer. "These children were learning it just as first people who lived on earth learned it in the beginning. Therefore," said the king, "must we conclude that Phrygian were the first and oldest of all the nations?" "Certainly," answered the wise man. "And from the time the Egyptians always spoke to the Phrygians as being of an older race than themselves." This was an oddly way of proving something, for as everyone can readily see, it proved nothing. It's a truly inspirational tale and a great example of excellent moral values, despite being written over 100 years ago. The story is still relevant today. If you are looking for an inspirational story, consider subscribing. Thank you.